Welcome to Confident Content Creators, the podcast, where we're helping millennial entrepreneurs thrive online by mastering the art of social media marketing. Hey, it's Lindsay, social media strategist, CEO of Hive Social, and your podcast host. Now it's time to make your mark online, so let's dive right in. All right, today I have a very special friend of mine. Sami is actually a really good friend of mine and one of my clients in the Hive Hub. But today I'm really excited because she's got quite the journey, quite the evolution or butterfly moment, so to speak, that we're going to talk about. So before we dive into all of that stuff, Sami, tell us more about who you are and kind of your journey, your story.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I am a mom, recently single mom. So just going through my divorce and all that fun stuff. If anyone knows human design, I am a manifesting generator. And so with that, I am a Jill of 1,000 trades. I love learning. I love teaching. Anything that I find passion in, I love to share. And so that's kind of what's gotten me to where I am today. I'm also a Scorpio, so I'm super driven and super intense. So it kind of goes well with all of that stuff too. I love the outdoors. I love adventures. And so I'm kind of looking for the path that takes me to do all of that. And I think that I'm finally honing in on that. So
I love that. Okay, before we get into where you're at now, let's kind of start your entrepreneurial journey. Where did you start out?
honestly, I started off in high school. I was a part of DECA. And it wasn't until I actually had a conversation with an old high school friend that I was like, DECA's where I really started what I wanted to do. Mind you, my DECA journey was I had to write a business plan and it was for a clothing store, which, okay. But I was like, that's what I knew I wanted to do. I wanted to be like a CEO. I wanted to be like a powerhouse of a woman in the business industry and really dress up, put the heels on and go. And that's always kind of just been my passion. And that's what's kind of driven me. And so when I went to aesthetic school, it was obviously kind of not super entrepreneurial. It wasn't super businessy. And I expected to leave my aesthetic school and jump straight into a spa and make thousands of dollars because that's what they told me that would happen. And then you graduate aesthetic school and you're like, oh, I have to sell myself really hard to get anywhere. And so I actually graduated aesthetic school in 2014 and I launched my business in 2017. And in 2017 is when I decided to start learning lashes, to just buy a bunch of product, buy a bunch of different machines and start doing aesthetic stuff. And so in 2018, I started teaching aesthetics. And in 2019, 2020, I was full blown just on my own lashing aesthetics business. So that's kind of how all that came to be.
So started in high school. You said it was called DECA? What
DECA,
is that?
yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't even remember what DECA stands for, but it's a business entrepreneurial group in a sense. And
okay.
so pretty much a bunch of people they have sales program games that they have to do. Like I said, I had to write a business plan. I actually went to nationals my junior year for DECA and I got in the top 20 in nationals. Just by presenting my business, I had to have a full business plan layout with revenue, how much everything costs, the nitty gritty of the basics of owning and running a business. So
my high school had FBLA, which is Future Business
yes.
Leaders of America. And then we also had, so I had that and I tried to join it and then I can't remember what happened, but I was a little shit in high school. So it wouldn't have worked out anyway, even if they let me in. But then they had a business stack of classes, which I'm assuming is probably kind of the same thing. But the business stack with Excel spreadsheets and how to balance a checkbook or how to do a budget and all of that stuff, which I wish now as an entrepreneur that I would have paid more attention in those.
100%. Those should actually be necessary. You have to really pass continue to go through that.
And I was
So,
really good at it. My teacher so I never did homework, I never studied. I just was, like, really good at it, and it would frustrate my teacher because he was like, "I almost wish that you had to do this because you would take it more seriously." But I did not take it seriously. I just skirted through it, and then, like I said, high school is not great for me. If I could
I
do it
feel
all
that in
over
my
again.
soul.
Okay, so from high school and business classes to aesthetic school and starting a very feminine type role of business. I see this a lot though, because you had said something that I think needs to be said again for all of the ladies out there who want to go to hair school or nail school and stuff like that. But you said once you were on your own, it was like a big shock that you had to actually sell
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was intense, and I actually got it, like, right out of school. I joined, or I was hired on by a dermatologist for, I think, 3 months, and then he did, like, a massive layoff, and so anyone
Mm,
new got let go, and I was like, "Okay, I got this," because I was like, "I'm not gonna go work at a, like, Sago Lily or New Image because you only make, like, 30% commission off of this," and
mhm,
so it's like, that's not a way, like, that's not livable. I mean, this was also back in 2014, 2015. Like, that should have been livable, but it wasn't. It's still not
right.
livable. And so I ended up getting just a regular, like, W-2 job at Myriad Genetics and kind of worked there until I went to back to school and was like, I'm going to go into marketing. And then I was like, no, I'm going to be a small business owner. And then I was like, no, I'm going to be a politician or an anthropologist. And then I was like, I love learning. And so I'm like, I'm not going to box myself in on a degree. And I think that's kind of what started the whole movement of, like, I want to own my own business. I want to teach and I love aesthetics. I'm going to teach it. But also, I have flexibility in my schedule.
Mm,
My business has been around for 7 years now, and it's completely what would be considered a full time job. But I still have flexibility. I want to learn how to do yoga and I want to learn how to teach yoga. And then I want to learn how to do mindfulness and meditation. I want to teach it. I think I have a nutrition certification. I have a personal training certificate. I have all of these certifications because I'm like, I just want to learn. And I think that's where, like, kind of the selling yourself, like, in all of this aspects, no matter what, like, you live, and if you want to get somewhere, you kind of have to learn how to sell yourself. So,
yeah, definitely. What do you think or how long did it take you from going out on your own and having to market yourself to getting to where you are now essentially with the full-time situation?
I would say it probably took me about 2 years total to do all of that. I taught aesthetics at Cortiva, and then I taught aesthetics at DATC, and it wasn't until COVID hit that I was pregnant, and I was like, I don't wanna work anymore because I don't wanna wear all of this stuff. Like, there was so many rules, regulations, not that I'm opposed to any of them, but, like, as a pregnant woman, I was just like, I wanna be on my own. And I quit the DATC, and I haven't gone back to any kind of W-2 job since. I say W-2 job because I do hear a lot of people be like, "Well, that's a real job. Like, I have a real job, and this is, like, my side hustle." But, like, if you're working for money, that's your job. Like,
Yeah.
that is your job. That is your income. And so I think switching that mind frame up from, like, well, it's not a real job because it's not a W-2. Well,
Mhm.
you make money. And if that's how you
Yeah.
pay your bills, it's your real job, I promise. So it took me about 2 years to really just be like, this is what I want to do. I was talking to a friend today and I told them, I was like, I think that's why, like, I have a little bit of a control issue. And so I'm like, that's why I have to be on my own, is because I don't want to work under anyone else's schedule. I
Mhm.
want to be the one that's like, no, this is when I work and this is what I do. And so,
Yeah, and I love that you defined it as W-2 job. I always call it, like, my muggle job or my 9 to 5,
oh, I like
and
it.
'cause I work, like, a legit 9 to 5 job, and I don't know how many listeners actually know that or remember it. I've mentioned it a few times, but I get what you mean, right? It's like, "Oh, your business is your side hustle," or like, "Oh, you're just
Oh,
doing this for fun, and it's a hobby," and, like, I hear so many things. And I also saw a post today from a friend who somebody had commented on one of her posts and said, "Why don't you just go get a real job?" And she was like, "Show me your bank account."
But
And I was like,
seriously,
"Oh."
yeah, because that's the one thing too is like my ex-husband now, like I've made more money than him for 4 years now. Like every year
Mhm,
I mean, technically, I mean, if you want to get logistically technical on taxes, it's like, but like my side hustle makes more than most people's W-2. And I'm like, it's still a job.
yeah,
I work hard. I work hard around the clock because I have to market myself all the time, talk about myself
mhm.
all the time, post on social media all the time. Like I'm constantly working. So,
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there's that saying or that meme that goes around that's like, "I quit my 9 to 5 40-hour work week to work 24/7 as an
yes,
entrepreneur."
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that actually brings up something that I wanted to touch base on before we dive more into this new adventure that you're on. You actually started working with me in the Hive Hub because you started this new adventure, but also, and maybe I'm being bold in saying this, but I'm assuming it's because you don't want to spend 24/7 marketing your business, right?
Yes, you are very correct.
Yeah, so my initiative, for those that don't know, the Hive Hub is this hybrid group one-on-one program where we teach you how to market your business and how to effectively bring in paying clients without spending 24/7 on social media, because nobody wants to be on social media that much. It's heavy, it's a lot. There's a lot of information going around, and there's so much do this, do that. You have to post every day. You have to, there's so many rules. And honestly, it causes a lot of anxiety, which is exactly what you're helping people with now. So let's talk about untethered anxiety and this new movement that you are creating.
Yes. Yes. So last year, I took a course with a girl who taught me how to become like an intuitive soul coach. And I loved it. And I love working with people and helping them heal and all that stuff. But I just was like, how do I specifically brand? And one thing that I've always struggled with growing up and even in my early adulthood into the last couple years was anxiety and listening to people and obviously doing lashes. I hear a lot of people, they come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I have so much anxiety. Oh my gosh, I live, eat, and breathe anxiety. I am anxious. I am this. And I'm like, but you're not. You're not actually anxiety. You are not actually anxious. You're having an anxious moment. A lot of people don't recognize we're so used to living in such a fear society and such an anxious society that that's not evolutionary speaking. That's not how we're supposed to live. You wonder why a lot of people have a lot of like digestive issues or sleep issues and behavioral issues are a huge one. With anxiety comes high cortisol levels, comes lots of stress, and our bodies are literally screaming at us to be like,
Yeah.
please stop. And so with the intuitive soul coaching, I kind of was like, I'm going to mesh this with being an anxiety management coach, how to help coach people on how to manage anxiety, not your anxiety, but manage anxiety. Because it's all about the frame of if we claim something, it is ours. If we have anxiety, we are anxiety. If we have XYZ, we are XYZ, is what our subconscious hears. And so that's kind of where I was like, I want to help people untether themselves from that, to untether themselves from the mindset of like, "Ugh, I'm just so anxious all the time." Well, how do we help that? Anxiety, biologically speaking and evolutionary speaking, is nothing more than a internal alarm system that goes off that says, hey, we're in danger right now, or we think we're in danger right now. So look around your surroundings. Is there a bear coming at you? Are you in actual danger? Like,
Yeah.
that's what anxiety is supposed to be. But in today's society, we have our phones that are constantly going off, and we're like, pressure's going to go off. Oh, this is going to happen. And it's like, we need to take a step back. We need to learn how to reconnect with our present moment, ground ourselves into our body again, and stop living in such a dorsal vagal or a freeze response kind of place. We've all heard like fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight. We're all there. But then when you start to detach or become desensitive to all of the things that are happening, you're allowing that to take over. And so it's how to come back down and learn to be like, oh, this is an anxious moment right now, or oh, I recognize that this one person or this one thing, or maybe a food brings me anxiety. Let me slowly try to retrain or find a new path. So,
Mm, I love that. And I love the model that you have opened up for this. So you're doing a group coaching 4-week program. Tell us a little bit more about the flow
yeah.
of that and how that works.
Yes. So it is a 4-week immersive program, and it starts off with module one, which is kind of learning about anxiety. One of the things that I heard from what, because I have the beta tester program going on right now, but she was like, I didn't actually recognize that behavioral issues were anxiety. She's like, I was living in such an irritable state. And she's like, my husband's always telling me I'm so irritable. And she's like, well, I don't know why. And she's like, but then I recognize, like, oh my gosh, that's anxiety. Oh my gosh, that's actually something triggering in me that's actually was like a past, or not a past, but like a childhood trauma that, like, when my husband does XYZ, it triggers this part of me and then it causes anxiety. So then I become irritable. So it's like a chain reaction. And I was like, she's like, I'm so glad that I know that now, because now I can stop and recognize, like, can being irritable, what's actually going on internally that I need to know. So week one is all about just learning that it's learning about the polyvagal response. So you have your polyvagal, which is like your safe place. And then you have your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight. And then you have your dorsal vagal, which is like your froze mode. This is where we detach, become disassociative and all that stuff. And so week two goes into how to start to manage. So there's meditations, there's a yoga flow, there'll soon be a somatics flow, different foods, different supplements, different things. I'm not a doctor, so I always talk to and consent with providers, but different kinds of things that I have used personally or know people who have used personally that have seen the natural effects of natural products that ease anxiety. Magnesium cream is my lifesaver. That and lavender, like my go-tos. Also learning about different actual foods that can cause anxiety. We all know caffeine can. We all know alcohol can. If anyone has a beer and then the next morning they wake up and they have the Sunday scaries, it's usually anxiety because our body suppressed a lot and now it has to refill what we
Mm,
suppressed. And so kind of goes over that. And then week three is digging into the trenches. So it's kind of finding out the why. Why are we having anxiety? What is it actually? A lot of times, anxiety, like I said earlier, could come from a childhood trauma. It could come from a limiting belief that you don't believe you are worthy or deserving or something. There's a bunch of different internal, energetic, spiritual things that could be going on inside that you need to kind of learn about. And so there's a parts where, like, learning about the different parts of, I don't know if you've ever heard of the IFS, the internal family systems.
mhm.
So that's just all of these little parts of us are all connected. All of us are in us. And so connecting with those and kind of trying to find out, like, the meditation guides you through which one's kind of causing the issues and how to get on their level to love them, hold them, let them be heard, let them be seen. So that one does get a little bit intense. And so I do provide in the course 2 private one-on-one sessions. And so during week 3, I encourage people to schedule their second session during that time so that they can have the additive support of that. And then week 4 is kind of all about our self-compassion, the yin and yangs of self-compassion, reframing our mindset, how to reframe, oh my gosh, I have so much anxiety today. No, you are having an anxiety, like an anxious moment, but you are not anxiety. So how to maintain the reframe of everything that we learned over the first 3 weeks. It's been really fun to put together. You were kind of my kick in the pants to get it going. Much appreciated. And in the middle of it, my life completely went up in flames, which is totally okay. We're here for it, because the best part is that I get to teach what I'm practicing. It
Yeah.
is holding me accountable to being my most authentic self and showing up in the way that humans do. Because even as a coach, I am a human. I'm not perfect. I'm not out here preaching that I'm perfect. I still cry in the corner sometimes. It's okay. But I don't like, allow those anxiety moments to overrule me. I sit with them. I be with them. And that's, if I can give anyone any piece of advice in this course, is to sit with yourself and to be with yourself and learn about yourself and then try to take the right path forward into that healing journey.
I love that. And I'm glad that I was there for you. And I'm glad that I actually am lucky enough to be one of your beta testers in your program. And although I'm not the most active person, because at the time we're filming this, it's in July, and July has been hectic crazy. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already know. But
Mhm.
it's been a very, very busy month. And you've been very patient with me. And I kind of just like glance here and there when I can. But it's so impressive, the whole entire thing. And even being in there, I would say only 10% of my effort, I have already learned so much and grown so much. And even just that first initial call that you and I had, I realized things about my subconscious that I think I obviously subconsciously always knew, but it's pulling that out and putting it in front of you of like, hey, this is something that you should probably address. And I was like,
Yeah.
dang. Like that one call was the whole program was worth it for that, just that one call. And I'm excited. So you run it as a group, right? So when are
Yes.
you wanting to start your next one?
So my next one will hopefully be second to third week of August. I've hired someone to run my back end of things. And so moving platforms over, I wanted it in one space. And so I'm hoping that's what it's going to look like. That's what I'm envisioning. And
Nice.
that's what she's working really hard on. So that's my goal, is to have it by second to third week, get kind of the beta testers, hey, this is what we like, this is what we don't, this is what I think. And then from there, launch it every 5 to 6 weeks, give myself
Perfect.
enough time to add more. And yeah, I'm excited.
I love that. So we're launching this. If you're listening to this when it launches, it is August now. And so reach out to Sammy and get if if it's closed or if it's full, get on her wait list for her next one, which I know she has because I helped her set it up.
Yay.
I pushed her to set it up. Yeah, get on her wait list. You'll get in the know of when the next one, and like she said, she's gonna run it every couple weeks. So you
Yes.
definitely need to put it on your list of things to invest in. Even if you're not like, oh, I don't have anxiety. It's you may have a little bit, and it's gonna help you with more than just anxiety. So
I was going to say that is my favorite thing in the world, is people are like, I don't have anxiety. And I'm like, okay, that's really cool. And then I'm like, I just get irritable when this happens, or I'm just not sleeping and I just can't stop my mind from racing. And I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
you're right. I mean, you don't have anxiety, but you do have anxious moments because,
Yeah.
again, evolutionary speaking, we all,
I was just gonna say
yeah,
we all have
we all have
anxious
that
moments. And
100%.
knowing how to handle those when they come up is gonna be a game changer in your life,
Yes.
so
Yeah. That
I
way it
love
doesn't snowball effect into something worse.
that.
So,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Well, how did marketing your lashes and aesthetics and your even your yoga teaching differ from how you are marketing this current course?
Lashes, a lot of people want. A lot of people know. A lot of people are like, oh, these are what lashes are. This is what I want. Super easy to market. Post a picture of lashes online and they can be like, yes, I want my lashes to look like this. Or, hey, I want, oh, you do other stuff. Tell me about it. Lash tints, whatever. It's a service that a lot of people know. Super easy. I'm going to say super easy to market, even though it's not ever super easy. But, and even same with yoga. If I'm like, hey, I want to teach yoga at retreats, it's easy for someone to be like, hey, I'm going to call on you at this time to come teach yoga at retreats. And that's just how it goes. This one's been different because it has been more about me being super authentic. It does bring up a lot of questions because they're like, an intuitive soul and anxiety management coach. Like, what does that mean? While I help guide people through their healing journey, through their healing path, to be that shoulder to lean on when they need, or to help guide them on where their path is taking them, I guess, in a sense. Because, like you saw on our, like, when I have a one on one session, I'm not even going to tell you where it's going to go. You can come to me and be like, this is what I know I need to work on. But yet, actually, your soul, your subconscious, your energy is like, she thinks that's what we need to work on, but that's not really it. Let me tell you what it is. it's not linear. Nothing about your healing journey is linear. Your healing journey is nothing but a path that goes up, down, sideways across a swamp into the cottage that's peaceful and beautiful. And then an earthquake happens and then it catches on fire. And then you have to go out and find a new path. Like, it is not a linear place to be. But I've enjoyed marketing myself more this way because I can show, I don't want to say the real side of me, but like the deeper side of me. And again, as a Scorpio, I love depth. I want to talk to you about what makes you tick, what makes you fall in love, what makes you do all of these things. I want to know. And so connecting to people on that level of like energetically about, I get to know the deep, real things about you. And there is nothing more amazing than that. And so, I've shared a little bit about my divorce, and I will, full disclosure, my ex has given me full permission to post about it because he's like, if this will help you sell your business, if this helps market you because you're going through hardships, please use it. Please do this because I want you to be successful, which is very kind of him. So, but it has been a lot more fun to market myself in this category because of the authenticity that's behind it and the realness that's behind it than just posting a picture of lashes and being like, let me do your lashes, please. Let me guide you. Let me support you. Let me love you and show you that you're worthy of love, that you are heard, you are seen, and you are supported. So that's the difference.
And on that same note, how has it been similar? Like, what are some of the commonalities in marketing the different types of businesses you have?
Showing up has been pretty much the consistent thing all around. I will say it was easier for lashes to just take pictures and post. And honestly, this is really easy for me to go get pictures done and post them too. Uh, but the consistency behind it has been the one thing that I've maintained. My lash business has fallen off because I'm not actively seeking new clients. My goal is to be in 2 years fully online with this coaching program and this course and to just thrive that way. And so kind of allow that chapter to close as it needs to or when it needs to. I'm not here in a rush to do anything. But yeah, the consistency behind it all of just showing up, scheduling out posts, that's probably the only real symbiotic thing that I could say between them.
Consistency in any business is going to be the game changer, right? And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be consistency like every single day, multiple times a day.
Mhm.
Consistency can be at your own level, right? Like if you're posting
Yeah.
once a week, post once a week. If you're
Yeah.
showing up in the same places, on the same platforms, in the same way, with the same branding, the same vibe, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, that is true consistency. Well, couple last questions just to round it out. Before we finish this out, I have other questions for you. But is there anything, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice when it comes to managing their anxiety, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, let's see, one piece of advice. Find what works for you to come down into your safe place. Because if it's breath work, if it's meditation, some people can meditate, some people can't, and that's okay. And I think removing the stigma from like, well, you have to meditate to be at peace, that's not true. You can go ride a Peloton, you can go walk in nature. And if that's your meditating, then that's great. Breath work. Some people can do the 4x4 method where you inhale for 4, exhale for 4, inhale for 4, exhale. To me, that makes me want to pass out. But
Mm.
there's the sipping method where you inhale, hold, inhale again, and then long, dramatic exhale out. Doing that 3 times has been scientifically proven to reset your vagus nerve and allow you to come back down into a calm setting. But it would be to find your safety, recognize what your safety is, and be in your safety. And always know that you can return to your safety. That, and again, the mind reframe of it's not yours to have. Like, you don't get to have anxiety. Anxiety will come, anxiety happens to all of us, but it's not ours to claim. It's just an anxious moment that comes. and like alarms us into what's going on, whether internally, externally, surrounding, or whatever. And then from there, we just acknowledge, do our little piece of inhaling, exhaling, and allowing it to just go on.
I love that. Thank you for that. And I'm glad that you brought that in because breath work gives me anxiety. It doesn't take the anxiety away. It actually
No.
does the opposite. And I have tried multiple times, multiple methods. Everyone
Yep.
tells me I'm crazy, but I promise it's not for me.
Sometimes it does. Like I said, the 4x4, my therapist one time told me to do it. And I was like, I'm going to pass out. I'm not okay. And he was like, let's try this other method. And I was like, okay, the sipping method I can do because I can feel the diaphragm. I can feel the air coming in and then I can release it out. But I also, yeah, it's definitely something that's not for everyone. So
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then one last thing before I have you go, and I'm just going to put you in the hot seat for a minute and ask you a super awkward question that you
okay.
may already have the answer to or not. But being in the Hive Hub membership, I just want to know what is your favorite piece of it?
Honestly, I mean, I have been awful at showing up on the calls. Life, again, has been happening. But the co-working calls, the hot seat calls have been amazing. But I love the group, like our chat. Like, I love that I can reach in and ask a question or the communication, like the community that's being built is something I am in love with. And I'm so excited. I know this is launching in August, but like, I'm excited for your thing on Saturday. Like, to just be around people. I have been saying this a lot lately that I'm like, I think I found my tribe of people and I'm
Yeah,
so excited to go be with them. So,
I
and
love
then
that.
also that you kicked me in the pants to launch, of course.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. I'll be honest, I love the group strategy chat because it's like having a social media strategist in your pocket.
Mhm.
And I love being there for people whenever they have a one-off question because sometimes it's like you don't need to hop on a call. You don't need a full strategy session.
Yes.
You just need to know why the hashtags aren't working
Yeah.
or what picture, what quote do I put with this? And then I do love pushing you guys out of your comfort zone. We're currently in the chat. We are doing a 30-day challenge, which I think
Nice.
we're going to rerun again probably shortly after this podcast comes out. So if you join the Hive Hub, we're going to do another 30-day challenge, which is super fun. So L reach out, let me know if you have questions, but if you want to connect with Sammy, if you wanna learn more about her program and how to manage those anxious moments and redefine what anxiety means, then reach out to her. I will put all of her links in the show notes, and you can find her on Instagram and all of the places. So,
Yay. Yes.
okay. Thank you so much for being on here, and we'll
Yep.
chat soon.
Hey, thank you.